Amazon, they treat their workers horribly.
Do not go work for Amazon. You can't sit down.
They weren't paying their drivers appropriately. Not very ethical.
They don't allow bathroom breaks. You have to get permission now. Employers cannot have unreasonable restrictions on when you use the bathroom. It is literally a health and safety issue.
There are people that wear diapers. Amazon warehouse workers forced to pee in bottles or forgo their bathroom breaks entirely because fulfillment demands are too high.
With Amazon, I wanted to provide a place that's quiet that people could go and focus on their mental and emotional well-being.
They didn't let us call for ambulances for months, maybe years even, because they didn't want it to be nationalised and in the press that there was ambulances turned up.
When he heard about a job at Amazon, he thought he was getting the chance of a lifetime. To secure the position, he had to pay the recruiter more than $2,000.
They put us in a room like animals, 8 workers to a room.
The level of exploitation they then faced in Saudi Arabia means that many of them are highly likely to be victims of human trafficking.
Bring employees access to consumer content without consent.
Amazon sued for using facial recognition on New Yorkers without permission.
Amazon confirms thousands of employees around the world listen to voice recordings captured by that speaker in homes and offices every day.
It was just really creepy thinking that something was listening to everything we were saying.
Let's get into it. Looking to take your business to the next level? Shopify offers the #1 checkout system on the planet, making it easier than ever to grow your sales. Whether you're selling online, in-store, or through social media, Shopify provides a seamless experience with features like Shop Pay, which can boost conversions up to 50%. Start your $1 per month trial today by visiting shopify.com/Sloan, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/Sloan to upgrade your business and streamline your selling process. This fall, explore the benefits of Via's premium cannabis products. Whether it's the THCA flower, THC-free gummies, or other soothing products, Via offers something for everyone. With discreet and legal shipping to all 50 states, customers can enjoy the highest quality hemp-derived products. Visit Via.com and use code SLOAN for 15% off. That's Via.com, code SLOAN. Thank you, Via, and enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the Let's Get Into It podcast. Today, we're going to be exposing Amazon, which you guys are probably like, wait, Sloan, are you scared talking about this big corporation or Jeff Bezos? And I have to say, at first I was nervous, but after doing my research, I feel like Jeff should be the one who should be scared. And I want to acknowledge I am guilty of using Amazon. I'm pretty sure everyone uses Amazon. Actually, comment below if you don't. But I am confident that you will look at Amazon differently after this podcast episode. We're going to break it into 3 different parts. First off, we'll start with a bunch of controversies that Amazon has been involved in. We'll move on to some of their very unsafe working conditions. Personally, I would call them borderline deadly. Like working at Amazon, you could experience a near-death experience because they push their employees that far. And then finally, I want to talk about how Amazon is exploiting poor countries, pretty much creating labor camps where people are enslaved to create these products that we're using every single day. So let's go ahead and get into some of these stories. Like when Amazon fires 2 employees who publicly criticized the warehouse conditions. Now, 2 employees, Emily and Marin, were both fired because they both expressed that they were working in really poor conditions, lack of safe and sanitary working conditions. So these 2 employees tweeted out because they wanted to bring awareness and to advocate for these warehouse workers. Though an Amazon spokesperson, Drew, said that these 2 employees were actually fired for repeatedly violating internal policies. One of the problems when it comes to Amazon is how they treat their warehouse workers and how they treat their drivers, because turnaround is so quick. I mean, there are people who go and work at Amazon for a couple weeks and then they leave. And what's sick about this is that Amazon prepares for this. They know nobody wants to go work in those warehouses. It's terrible. So they've purposely designed a position for someone to come in there, work a couple weeks, and then get out. They don't mind if you are leaving because there are so many people out there. They look at us as objects, just, replaceable.
Reasons you shouldn't work at Amazon. Facility is ran by managers who have never done our job. We are looked at as numbers, not people. Highly overworked and severely underpaid. To strict over 5-minute restroom breaks. Volume of warehouse can trigger anxiety and emotional distress. Our hard work is never acknowledged. We're only addressed when we have messed up or there's an issue. If you complete or finish tasks you are not able to rest, they will move you to more work. Out of a 10-hour shift, we are provided a 30-minute lunch.
Now, when it came to Emily and Marin, essentially they broke the policy in which they cannot publicly comment on the business, at least without approval from executives, which is interesting because, I mean, I feel like work is such a big part of everyone's life. I can't imagine working somewhere 40 hours plus a week and not referencing it in some kind of way. But of course, they don't care if you reference it in a good way. It's the bad stuff they care about. The New York Times found a third employee, Chris Hayes, who also was fired by Amazon after he criticized its treatment of warehouse workers. Chris was actually planning on leaving, and he invited a handful of co-workers to a virtual discussion with warehouse workers so they could understand what's going on there. At this point, he was planning on leaving the company because, of course, like, why would Amazon want one of their employees to go and organize a meeting where they could talk about how badly the company is? So he was planning on leaving, but before this meeting could even happen, they told him, hey, we don't need you anymore, just get out. Which is probably smart on Amazon's end because Chris is like kind of like starting a movement within the company before he gets out of there. This is not the only instance where Amazon has appeared to fire workers over criticism. Chris Malls, an assistant manager at a fulfillment center, was fired for violating quarantine and having close contact with someone who had corona. Also, it's so weird when I read like coronavirus because I always think of the beer. Like, in my mind, it's COVID-19. So then when I read coronavirus, I'm like, ooh, a little corona. Chris had previously organized a walkout to demand reasonable protections during this time where everything was so unsure, but Amazon wasn't going to stop their business. Amazon intended on smearing Chris by making him face the entire union and organizing movement and characterized him as a not smart or articulate person. Of course, they would do that. They see all of their workers as legit trash, unless you're in corporate, which they don't treat them great either. But if you're in the warehouse, if you are delivering, they are not going to respect you. Now, I am someone who has cameras all over my house. I'm just one of those people. I mean, being in the public eye, which is so weird to say. Like, I've got 1 million followers on YouTube, but I guess I'm in the public eye, and you know, it's a little bit scary, but having cameras gives you another layer of comfortability because if someone comes in and does something to me, I mean, I've got like 8 cameras that can capture it. But I might need to rethink this because it looks like Ring actually admits that its employees tried to access customers' private videos. This is actually like a major fear unlocked because I'd be walking around my place all naked and stuff. Now they're going to hack me and expose me. But I have been working on my body, so it would be a good expose. So Ring is owned by Amazon, and essentially these employees admitted that they have at least tried to inappropriately access customers' home surveillance videos. There are 4 internal reports of employees going above and beyond their job duties in exactly the wrong kind of way. Ring employees attempting to access videos they should not be is actually not much of a surprise because we've seen other employees at places like Twitter and Snapchat do the same thing, accessing private customer data. This is so scary. Actually, in one instance, there was a report that Ring, the camera Ring, and I guess the company Ring, gave certain contractors total access to unencrypted customer video streams, which essentially means that they are outsourcing business, I'm assuming out of the country, giving them access to this data. And of course, these people who are not managed by Ring are abusing their power and using our data.
Did you have a Ring camera in 2019? Well, you might just be entitled to some financial compensation down the line. The FTC published a proposed order against Ring that would see them pay $5.8 million in consumer refunds, as well as prohibit the company from profiting from unlawfully accessed consumer videos. The FTC's complaint says that hackers broke into 55,000 Ring accounts belonging to US-based customers, in some cases maintaining access to linked devices for more than a month. So we published a number of investigations into a wave of hacks targeting Ring accounts and cameras across the United States. We found hackers discussing creating tools to break into Ring accounts on crime forums. We uncovered a podcast where hackers live streamed the harassment of unsuspecting victims. And we finally documented in detail the myriad security issues with Ring accounts by purchasing and testing a Ring camera ourselves. Ring employees also accessed consumer content without consent. Under the FTC's proposed order, Ring will be required to delete data products derived from those unlawfully reviewed videos and also implement a privacy and security program as well as other stringent security controls.
This is so creepy. I mean, I would assume that anyone like myself, when you purchase these products, you assume there's like a layer of privacy. I mean, I didn't get a big warning on the box, a big yellow sticker that said, "Hey, Sloan, your streams might be available to other people. They might see your butt walk around naked in your condo." Now, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get an Amazon delivery and the delivery driver is, one, not dressed up as like an Amazon worker, but then two, just driving a random car, which I don't really mind. It kind of reminds me of like what I would see in Hawaii, you know, like the police officers use their own personal cars. They just stick the lights on top. So I kind of felt like that vibe. Amazon wanted to use this third-party delivery system, although a lot of people said it would be dangerous. But Amazon is determined to grow and grow bigger at any cost. In 2013, the company decided it could no longer rely on companies like FedEx and UPS to deliver its packages, which is why it started to work with smaller carriers and then eventually create their own. One of the problems with hiring third-party contractors for this kind of job is that they don't have control over these employees. It's essentially up to the third-party contractor, whatever company hired them, so they could go and overwork them, harm them, avoid safety measures, because this isn't Amazon, it's another company that will take the fall, ultimately resulting in Amazon employees getting hurt. Here's a TikTok of somebody who has worked in this field and has an idea of how they're taking advantage of people.
I apparently used to work for an Amazon DSP. For those of you that don't know what a DSP is, they're a delivery service provider. The DSP that I worked for was not running it very well. They weren't paying their drivers appropriately. We got almost zero bonuses that we heard about all the time from Amazon. Just all in all, not very ethical. They were just padding their own pockets. The owners were 100% against anybody getting any overtime whatsoever, and were scheduling to make sure that that didn't happen.
Wow, imagine working for a company and seeing everyone get a bonus, and then you ask your boss, "Hey, where's our bonus?" But they're just going ahead and pocketing it. You also must keep in mind that Amazon has certain requirements. So if they go and hire these random drivers, what if they're high and on drugs and they hit and kill a family? Are they an Amazon employee that did this? Actually, an 84-year-old woman named Telesphora was struck and killed by a driver working for Inpax Shipping, which was an Amazon partner. Just months before this 84-year-old's death, a former employee told BuzzFeed News that Inpax had stopped paying for a critical safety monitoring service it had installed in every van, a service that would have prevented an accident like this from happening. When it came to that accident in Chicago, of course, Amazon tried to disconnect themselves from Inpax. They fired him and said that they had no control over that situation. Therefore, they take no accountability. So no sorry to that 84-year-old victim. But clearly Amazon cares a lot about what people think of them, which is part of the reason why Amazon workers were being paid to defend the company on Twitter. You can't make this stuff up. Imagine this. There are a dozen Amazon workers who are hired to go on Twitter to go and combat some of these reports about bad working conditions. TechCrunch, an online publisher, realized that these Twitter accounts were in existence and that they had these things like FC Ambassador and a little brown box emoji in their Twitter bio. The accounts mostly replied to Twitter users who were criticizing the Amazon worker conditions. They would reply to the Amazon hate with their own experiences, saying, "Well, I'm having a great time here," and, defending the bathrooms and things like this, after reports that people had to pee in a bottle. That would totally be me, because I have to pee so much. Like, I can't just do like a 5-minute break every 5 hours.
Amazon's weird obsession with how its employees use the bathroom is getting way out of hand. Just look at this. It's ridiculous. Today, Amazon gave me a verbal warning about going to the bathroom while not on a break. They have a new rule that they don't allow bathroom breaks. You have to get permission now. Hold up, I've got an issue with this. Apparently, so does the federal government. If you don't know, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, also known as OSHA, is in charge of making sure employers have safe conditions for workers. OSHA has rule-making authority. These aren't suggestions, you have to obey them. There's no question about this. Employers cannot have unreasonable restrictions on when you use the bathroom. And when you gotta go, they have to have reasonable procedures to let you leave and do it. Now, there's a reason OSHA is regulating bathroom use. It's because it is literally a health and safety issue. Employers making you hold it all the time are putting your health at risk.
Now, when it comes to these Twitter accounts, people are calling it downright creepy. You can tell that it's very calculated. The tweets coming from these accounts are way too positive for someone who's working. Amazon did confirm that these employees were working in fulfillment centers and instructed to go and create these accounts. So these aren't bots. These are them hiring people to create these fake accounts to then push a marketing goal. Because Amazon is so large and in charge, it gets very political because it controls a lot of money. They employ a lot of people people. It's a big part of the market. So it was interesting to see that Amazon wanted to partner with ICE, the immigration agency, or anti-immigration agency, I should say. They wanted to use facial recognition software, and they wanted to get the government on it. Essentially, Amazon wants the Department of Homeland Security to accept their database of facial recognition so they could go and track immigrants. Track and apprehend immigrants is what they say. This is scary because if they're going to go and track people who aren't even citizens, then what are they doing to us? Amazon had previously come under fire for its facial recognition technology just 1 month prior to Amazon's meeting with the ICE officials. The ACLU obtained documents showing that the online retailer provided law enforcement in Oregon and Orlando with the technology.
Amazon sued for using facial recognition on New Yorkers without permission. Surprise, surprise. And you think this has only been going on for a few years? I know at the airport, at least, it's been going on for 10 plus years, if not even longer. Of course, they don't disclose this to you until they have to, but biometrics have been around for a really long time. And this time, they kind of got caught with it. But it really makes you wonder, what in the world is really going on, right?
Now, a lot of Amazon employees did not like this approach because, again, it's political, and who knows how the government could take this technology and use it incorrectly. As the Daily Beast points out, just this past week in an interview with Wired, Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, spoke of current immigration enforcement carried out with ICE and said, when discussing the migrants, Jeff said, I would let them in if it was me. I like them. I want all of them in. Okay, Jeff. Now, we talked a little bit about Ring, but I want to talk about Amazon's favorite daughter, Miss Alexa. I have one right over there, and every time I talk about Alexa, she listens. Surprise, surprise. Well, it looks like Amazon employees are listening to your Alexa chats. Well, if they're listening to mine, they're just hearing me yell at her, cuss her out, go off, because I swear everyone else can talk to her and she understands them. Am I really a mumbling king? Like, you really don't understand me, or are you just trying to be a B word? Alexa. I'm like looking back like I'm talking to her. Hey, Alexa, stop. Now, according to Bloomberg, some Amazon employees listen to and transcribe customer conversations with Alexa so they could look up the location data of those customers. Amazon employs a mix of employees and contractors spread across the globe to listen to recordings of some people's interactions with Alexa.
Amazon confirms thousands of employees around the world listen to voice recordings captured by that speaker in homes and offices every day. Questions, family discussions, financial matters, even intimate moments. Part of an effort, Amazon says, to improve the software and better recognize voice patterns, accents, and slang. In Maryland, Steve Filio pulled the plug on his Echo.
You know, it was just really creepy thinking that something was listening to everything we were saying walking around the house.
In your own home.
In my own home.
Amazon says it takes customer privacy seriously and reviews only a small number of randomly selected recordings, and employees do not have direct access to information that can identify the person or account as part of this workflow. Bloomberg News says that even when they hear something criminal, they're unable to report it. But privacy experts say the fact that someone could be listening to you and your family is a big red flag.
Side rant, I'm so tired of these contracts that we're always signing and not fully understanding. Like, even the new iPhone, I got the new iPhone and you just click, but who knows what this really says? I mean, did I agree to my Alexa doing all of this? Because I disagree now. I do not consent anymore. Amazon put out a statement saying that there is a zero tolerance policy when it comes to, accessing this kind of information through someone's Alexa device. But again, that doesn't stop an employee from doing what they want to do. Like, yeah, it's cute that you have the policy, but when you employ hundreds of thousands of people, there could be some bad apples, maybe a few bad apple trees. As we all know, Amazon is an international company, and they've gotten themselves in trouble all across the world. Like, Amazon must have thought that they were in America back in 2012 because the UK reported it made $3.3 billion and didn't pay anything in taxes. I mean, imagine how much money would go back to the people. I mean, I don't know, in the UK, it might go to Meghan Markle and them, but actually not Meghan, but Prince Harry and not Prince Harry, Prince William, the royal family. Either way, they agreed to pay corporate tax in 2017. And despite paying the taxes they need to, they are paying the bare minimum. One thing I've hated about Amazon is how they force the people on Amazon to really screw over their own business. Like essentially, if your product is placed on Amazon, let's say, Sloan had a moisturizer and Sloan's moisturizer is on Amazon. It's also on Sloan's skincare website. Well, let's say it's $10 on Sloan's skincare website, but it's $11 on Amazon. Well, Amazon will then punish me because it has computers that can go online and search for the lowest price. And if it's not matching Amazon's, it will punish the store, which I get it. They want to give their customers the best deal, but it really hurts a lot of people who are small businesses. Back in the early 2010s, Amazon loved to play with the price range. I mean, one regular Amazon customer found a DVD, this is so 2010, at one price on Amazon. They went on to delete their cookies, their search history. They went on to the same website and found the DVD was a lot lower because Amazon was tracking data to see, if you're looking up this movie over and over again, you're more likely to pay more for it. Well, deleting that history, it went back to its original price. At the time, Jeff Bezos apologized, stating that Amazon will never test prices based on customer demographics, which, false. It sounds like you have. And while this was in the 2010s, this is still happening today. And we see when Amazon does these big price drops or Amazon Prime Day, they will mark up the prices on Amazon like Target and other places will, to make it seem like it's a bigger discount than it really is.
If you're an Amazon Prime member, giddy up for so many class actions in the works. First is for fake Prime discount. Complaint lists an example of an LG TV usually sold on Amazon for $1,500. Now allegedly, Amazon raised that price to $2,500 for a month, while advertising to Prime customers it's 40% off for you, making you feel like you were getting a special deal at $1,500.
For businesses aiming to scale, Shopify offers the ideal platform. With the #1 checkout system, it simplifies selling across multiple channels, including online, in-store, and on social media. Shopify also includes features like Shop Pay, which can increase conversion by up to 50%, ensuring fewer abandoned carts and more completed sales. Trusted by businesses all around the world, Shopify enables growth with a seamless checkout process and an array of integrated tools. If you guys want to make it big, you've got to leverage the right tools, and Shopify gives you everything you need to customize your site and your selling experience. It's perfect for businesses looking to sell wherever customers are, from the web to in-person shopping experiences. Sign up for a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/Sloan, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/Sloan, and experience the power of Shopify. Enjoy this episode. As the seasons change, now is the perfect time to explore Via's premium cannabis products. Via offers a range of THCA flower, THC-free gummies, and other wellness products crafted with care and shipped discreetly across all 50 states. Whether customers are seeking relaxation or focus, Via's products are lab-tested and sourced from independent American farms, ensuring the highest quality and safety. In addition to their range of cannabis products, Via continues to release new strains and flavors, providing plenty of options for different preferences. Customers can enjoy the highest quality hemp-derived products. Visit Via.com and use code Sloan for 15% off. With no medical card required and a worry-free guarantee, Via offers an accessible way to enjoy the benefits of cannabis. Head to Via.com and use code Sloan for 15% off your order. That's Via.com, code Sloan. Thank you, Via, for sponsoring this episode, and enjoy. So throughout this episode, we've covered instances where the working conditions have not been great, but now in this segment, I want to go through in detail how bad it really gets. Imagine the worst job possible in the United States, and this is it. Let's start off with a few quick facts before we get into the details. Amazon has a long history of opposing unionization, and most recently was accused of violating labor law during an election. Quote, Amazon illegally arranged for a U.S. Postal Service mailbox to be installed in the fulfillment center parking lot during the election. The union alleged that it gave the impression that Amazon might have had access to the secret ballots cast by workers. We hear about these elections being fraudulent, but it looks like Amazon is the culprit, at least when it comes to their employers trying to unionize, which is their workers' right. Recent research by the Strategic Organizing Center found that injury rates at Amazon facilities are reportedly double that of the industry average, and that Amazon workers sustained more than 24,000 serious injuries in 2020. And it's not just Amazon workers getting hurt in the facilities. That same organization found that 49% of delivery workers reported pain or injuries that caused them to miss work, and 89% of injured delivery workers reported that their injuries were related to production pressure or speed, being pushed to their limits and then some cases harming themselves to where they cannot work at all. Tiara Jones is a mother with a baby and also an Amazon warehouse worker who actually wrote an email to Jeff Bezos because her check was $90 short of what she was supposed to receive. She wrote, "I'm behind on bills all because the pay team messed up. I'm crying as I write this email." And there are so many people in this country who are struggling and working way too hard for way too little. It turns out that Amazon has a pattern of this, shortchanging new parents, patients dealing with medical crises, and other vulnerable workers on leave. So if you think about any other employer, if you have a baby, if you have a medical emergency, then they will compensate you to a degree. But not Amazon. Their employees have to go and sell wedding rings. They have to go and get their items repossessed, their cars, no more disability payments. One report actually claims that doctors' notes had vanished into black holes in Amazon's databases. Employees struggled to even reach their case managers, wading through automated phone trees, which, holy crap, I hate the automated phone system. Does anyone else? But this job was never intended to retain workers because they made it difficult from the jump. I mean, making their bathrooms so far away, making conditions so strict and micromanaging people, but at the same time not giving anyone answers for the questions they have. But actually it turns out that Jeff doesn't want to have employees for long periods because he claims that, employees who work hourly at the same company for years, they end up becoming complacent. They become lazy. They want an increase in pay, but they're not working as hard. So he loves the quick turnover that his company has because it keeps people who are new to the job, they're there for a couple months until they're burnt out, and then he trashes them.
Amazon, they treat their workers horribly. So these warehouses are huge, right? They say like the nearest bathroom is like a 15-minute walk. You get a 10-minute bathroom break. But all these people say that it takes them 10 minutes just to walk to the bathroom.
Evil?
There are people that wear diapers into
Get the fuck
I swear
out.
to God.
Show me this on
People,
YouTube.
Amazon warehouse workers forced to pee in bottles or forgo their bathroom breaks entirely because fulfillment demands are too high.
You gotta be
They are
kidding.
now issuing adult diapers to workers. There you go.
Come on.
Amazon.com began allowing its workers to wear adult diapers to relieve themselves between breaks.
That's
Amazon hopes this new program will satisfy its workers.
That's a program.
Right.
Wow.
We need to protect certain things because
But
if business gets too
but
big.
Can't you say no job? You can't. Then don't take a job there.
But they're the second largest employer in America. Half of the jobs in this country are their jobs. There aren't other jobs to take.
That's hysterical.
This
Imagine being a grown man wearing a fucking diaper to work.
Just to pack a cardboard box because we want it faster. That's not right. That's not right.
Not right.
So again, it's clear Jeff Bezos does not see these people as people. His solution was to replace workers before their productivity further deteriorated and pay increased. It's more efficient to hire fresh, new people. Amazon then basically encouraged workers to leave. The constant churning of workers helped keep efficiency high and wages low. After 3 years on the job, hourly workers no longer received automatic raises, and the company actually offered bonuses to people who would quit. Turnover at Amazon is much higher than many other companies, with an annual rate of roughly 150% for warehouse workers. Workers allege that they are given back-breaking tasks in the warehouse. They also vent their dismay over intrusive surveillance technologies, including automated tracking systems and cameras that monitor their every move. And if these employees aren't working hard enough and meeting quotas, then they are fired. If they are meeting quotas, then their quotas are then increased. Essentially, it's a lose-lose situation for everyone, except for Amazon and Jeff Bezos, of course. So Jeff decided to do something to combat some of the bad press and these unhappy employees, and he launched Working Well, a comprehensive program providing employees with wellness exercises. I know a lot of people who do not like to work out. I actually do enjoy to work out. But there are people out there who are unwell and they don't want to go and run laps to feel better. They're already exhausted, so this exercise program doesn't make sense to me. And of course, the rollout didn't get glowing reviews the company had hoped for. The online vitriol was brutal. It felt that the program brought out all the pent-up anger simmering against the online portal, the solution they presented. This is a man whose company just blew up during COVID, especially during COVID. I mean, prior to that, it was a big hit, and all of his employees are suffering. So how does the richest man out here sleep at night knowing that his employees can't even pay their bills that are not even a fraction of what he has? In one of their most dystopian moves yet, Amazon introduced this tiny booth where overworked warehouse employees can escape the job. It looks like you're preparing for death. It's like this job is so grueling and terrible that you would rather go in this enclosure just a moment to get away and have somewhat peace. But I'm pretty claustrophobic, so this would not work for me.
With Amazon, I wanted to provide a place
Amazon, please.
that's quiet that people could go and focus on their mental and emotional well-being. The Zen booth is an interactive kiosk where
Wait, no, this looks like torture. It reminds me of whenever I had to go into I feel like detention. I was not a bad kid, but I did have detention once.
you can navigate through a library of mental health and mindful practices to recharge that internal battery.
I mean, honestly, they should make that a porta potty because the people are running laps just to go pee. Because there's been so much talk about Amazon employees and their safety, the U.S. Labor Department actually stepped in. Amazon has been accused by the federal safety regulators of failing to keep warehouse workers safe, no surprise, from workplace hazards. It looks like a lot of this actually stems from workers lifting packages that are dangerous for them. This is after inspecting 3 warehouses, one in Florida, one in Illinois, and another in New York. Why do I have a feeling that the Florida warehouse would be such a shit show? There'd be like an alligator in there. Well, I mean, excuse my language, but truly, I mean, it would probably be swampy. It would be messy. And you know, I love Florida. I'm a big fan of Florida, but I can acknowledge that it's probably a hot mess. One problem Amazon has is, yeah, you can go and fire people and get rid of them and treat them like trash, but people are people and they have voices. I came across one TikTok where this person, their hours were cut by a ton, but Amazon was in desperation. They came and dropped off a truck to this employee who agreed to work, and it was an absolute mess. I don't know how deliveries work, but like the boxes being thrown in there and such, I can't imagine having to sift through all that. One employee, Jennifer Bates, said, "We have to keep up with the pace. My workday feels like a 9-hour intense workout every day, and they track our every move." That would give me so much anxiety. Cameras just watching me at all times. And the thing is, there are so many injuries that happen at these warehouses that Amazon doesn't want to take accountability for them. So if someone gets hurt, they don't want an EMT to arrive there. They want to send them off site so there's no press.
They didn't let us call for ambulances for months, maybe years even, because they didn't want it to be nationalised and in the press that there was ambulances turned up. I literally had to take somebody who'd had an accident in my car to the hospital to save them calling an ambulance. Toilets, they're now asking certain departments to sign a bit of paper to say when they're going to the bathroom. With grown adults, you know, not school anymore. It's just, and the constant pressure of raising targets. We're human beings, not robots. If you're doing a 50, 60-hour week to try and make ends meet, because you've got bills to pay, kids to look after, all that kind of thing, you cannot work as hard as you did in your 60th hour as you did in your first hour. Yet they expect that of us.
You know what? They have a point. Maybe robots could do better, but is that really the answer? And maybe it will be. Honestly, I think probably the next decade, I can't imagine it not being ran by robots. But in the meantime, Jeff has to make his coin, so he's going to do it in really nasty and sleazy ways, which is why we're going to talk about what he's doing internationally. The headline reads, "Revealed, Amazon linked to trafficking workers in Saudi Arabia." This guy, Mamchai, wanted to go home to his mom and his brother in the pastures of Nepal in the southern plains. He felt like a prisoner, he says, in a roach-infested bunkhouse in Saudi Arabia, out of work, hungry, and deep in debt. The 23-year-old came to the Saudi capital in 2021 to work for one of the world's biggest companies, Amazon. And I'm sure Mamchai was super excited to go there because he's like, yay, an opportunity. I'm not doing well. I want to take care of my family. let's get into it. Seriously. But no, actually, no, let's not get into it, because instead of his dream job, he says he found low pay and misery. Amazon managers berated him, he says, for being too slow as he hustled across a vast 2-story warehouse, grabbing iPhones and other items ordered by customers across the Arabian Peninsula. Then in May 2022, he said that he and many of his coworkers were abruptly let go from their jobs. They were 2,400 miles away from home with no wages and little food. He claims he pled with the labor company that held their employment contracts and had placed them in what amounted to a temporary position at Amazon. Essentially, the firm gave him no outing. He could stay in that place for him that was like hell, or he could push his family back in Nepal deeper into destitution by paying a $1,300 exit fee, a penalty for leaving before his contract was done. He said, I told them either kill us or send us home, but don't give us so much pain. Can you imagine like all of this for an iPhone on Amazon? Really, it's not that serious. Now, Mamtai is just one of many employees who have been exploited by these recruiting agencies in Nepal. You guys may remember I mentioned that Amazon likes to use third-party entities, because then Jeff can collect the money and doesn't have to answer for the conditions. What Mamtai and what so many other people have gone through in hopes to go and make a living, but really a scam, using Amazon's name to get these people enticed, but then to screw them over in the end. And Amazon can just wipe their hands clean. 48 of the 54 Nepali workers interviewed for this story say recruiters misled them about the terms of their employment, promising them they would work directly for Amazon. And guess what? These people had to pay a fee to go and get this job that essentially ruined their lives. They had to go and pay for it.
Life was hard for Momtaj Mansoor in poverty-stricken rural Nepal, where his 16 family members were struggling to make ends meet. When he heard about a job at Amazon, he thought he was getting the chance of a lifetime.
I had a dream of earning money to help my family to move forward, to improve my family's situation.
A Nepalese recruiter assured him he'd be working directly for Amazon in a Gulf state, a sure bet for good pay and job security. But there was a catch. To secure the position, he had to pay the recruiter more than $2,000, an astronomical sum for his family. Still, the chance for an Amazon job was too good to pass up.
Now, of course, the workers say they were paid a fraction of what the direct hires for Amazon Saudi warehouses earn. So the people who were outsourced were barely paid, essentially because these labor firms that Amazon was excited to do work with was taking most of the money. Amazon did acknowledge that some workers at their facilities have been mistreated. They said, we are deeply concerned that some of our contract workers in Saudi Arabia were not treated with the standards we set forth. We appreciate their willingness to come forward and report their experience. Now, Amazon said it would make sure the workers who paid these recruiting fees would get their money back, but that's what Amazon's saying. Do you believe them after this episode? I don't know. But Saudi Arabia isn't the only country or facility that is going through this. There are so many people, including people who are actually fearful to come forward because of retaliation. It's giving like Diddy vibes, and we're talking about Jeff Bezos. The thing about these workers too, they're kind of like recruited from their villages, their towns, their cities that they come from, and they're brought here, and they're expected to not only work here, but to live here. And I want you guys to understand the conditions are, it's not like school. Like in America, yeah, like it sucks. They're micromanaging you, and yeah, it does suck. I don't want to, it's really terrible. But in these other countries, the way they're housing these people, it's enslavement.
They put us in a room like animals, 8 workers to a room.
The housing conditions dismal, he says. Water too salty to drink, and he itched if he bathed in it. He says he was moved to other housing only to find it infested with insects. Surendra Kumar Lama, also devastated by his experience, says he wound up deeper in debt than before.
All my dreams have been shattered. I had to pay off the loans. How could I save money?
Nepalese journalist Pramod Acharya spoke with about 20 workers who were still in Saudi Arabia working for Amazon.
The workers seem very scared to talk. They all describe their situation and position as helpless there.
And on the floor of the vast Amazon warehouse in Riyadh, Mansoor says the work was hard. On his feet 8 hours a day, bathroom breaks monitored. After 5 months of work, he'd grown thin and weak.
I would feel like I was being pierced with needles or walking barefoot on stones when I returned to my room. My whole body would ache.
Now, in 2021, Jeff Bezos was quoted saying that he was going to make Amazon the Earth's best employer. Well, a former worker replied with, "You are in this position because of our work. You would not have been in that position without the efforts of laborers and helpers from Nepal, the Philippines, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and others. But you are ignoring workers' concerns." It seems like it's pretty common for people to bring in employees from I would say employees, but they're treated, again, like they're almost slaves from Nepal. Everyone gets trapped in foreign employment, a laborer in Nepal says. No matter how smart you are deceived in the end. So it seems like this is a problem within this country that Amazon has no problem adding to.
The level of exploitation they then faced in Saudi Arabia means that many of them are highly likely to be victims of human trafficking.
Ella Knight of Amnesty International co-authored a report on deception in recruiting practices.
Amazon didn't take the action necessary at that time to prevent those abuses, and therefore workers have continued to suffer over several years.
For Mansoor, his troubles only worsened after he was suddenly told by text he was laid off.
My family's financial situation is devastating now. I lost everything going there, including my health. My body suffered a lot at Amazon.
Now back in Nepal, Mansoor, filled with regret and debt, feels he needs to look abroad for other opportunities, hoping he doesn't get caught in the same cycle once again.
So in a time where we're talking more and more about trafficking and the implications of this and the people involved, are we going to start talking about the companies? Like Nestle? Remember we talked about Nestle on the channel? That was very interesting. I'm disturbed by this, and it makes me really sad for especially people in foreign countries who, you know, as bad as the United States is, there are some protections we have, and in some other countries, you could just get screwed. Like, that guy's in debt for who? For who? Like, screw those people, but you can't. It's a different world, and Jeff Bezos is obviously so disconnected, and I have prayers for everyone at Amazon. I really hope that they improve the company, because the company is not going anywhere, but nonetheless I hope that there is some power and they can fight against the system, because at this point the company is so big it's like its own little government, if you know what I mean. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Email me if you guys have any other topics you want me to cover on the podcast, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye guys.